Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are, Tom and Q Show, episode 38. Here we are on October 28th. It's been a busy week, been a busy couple of weeks. Today, we are breaking the streak again.
Yeah.
Right? So we've been holding
This is the official broken streak. She's on down here. Like, this is official.
We have been holding this streak. We held it for close to 25 weeks, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
Till the volleyball tournament in August. And then now here we are breaking it again, kind of for a special case, special reason. Definitely the prettiest.
It is not marriage counseling, as it's like upside on the side of the table.
Maybe it should be, as things kind of been a little bit adventurous over the last week or so.
Sure.
I could sit here and clear up a lot of those faults that he said too.
But, yeah, so here we are. My beautiful wife, Nicole Talby, is here. We're going to discuss with her as next week is November 2nd, Election Day across the country. As we've talked about in previous episodes and down the road and past, she is running for Northwest Local School District School Board. There are 5 people running for 3 spots. So I'm going to hand her the mic, and we'll kind of pass the mic back and forth between Quentin and I to kind of get a little, maybe share the experience of what it's been like over the last 6 months, whatever, since she started doing this. So, Nicole, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself again and kind of how this experience got started.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I thought we were kidding about doing this, but a few minutes ago I was informed that I was needed downstairs, so I appreciate you guys letting me come on here. But just 6 or 7 months ago, when I was approached by a few people and talked to a current school board member, we started talking about it and just prayed a lot about it, and I just thought, what better time? This year we have 3 kids in 3 different schools. So a perfect time to really dive in. And, I feel like I've been super involved with just the schools that our kids go to. So I'm excited to take that across our entire district, and which is over 9,000 students. So I've done a lot of online training. I've talked to tons of community members, parents, attended pretty much almost every school board meeting, since we were allowed back. And I'm really excited. I think I'm prepared and excited for Tuesday.
That's awesome. Talking with Tom, it doesn't seem like, I kind of coming over as often as I do, it's you've consumed yourself with this project, and you've spent a ton of time on doing the research to what it's going to take. You've got a kid in grade school, middle school, and high school, so you can see the future of where that grade school is going. So you're very close to this whole thing, and you've consumed yourself with what goes on the school board side. Mm-hmm. What are some of the positive and encouraging things that a mentor has spoken to you along the way that of the direction that this could head to?
So just the impact that I've had, just maybe with some of the things that I've implemented through being in PTA, or I'm the business partner at one of our schools for the past 15 years. So some of the ideas that I've brought to those schools, that now I have the ability to speak as a board member possibly and bring those ideas to our entire district. And then also just it's important to me that kids be involved in the community. So getting our sports teams, our clubs out volunteering for cleanup days, whether they're volunteering through the church that they attend or with, as parents, we're constantly trying to get our kids to be out and be involved. So those are just a few of the things, but that I would have a bigger voice and also be able to take feedback from parents.
Right.
and just help, whether there's an issue at school or something that they want to be heard on, that I could be that voice.
So is there a community cleanup project in place now, or is that something that's going to be new? And
well, Corning Township they have it quite often, and just because we live in Corning Township, I know more about those.
Okay.
But we just did a Corning Give Back Day, and I participated in that. There was I met so many people that I had never met before, and a lot of I know the football team was there helping clean up. A lot of families from our church and other churches. We just went to a yard. I never met the lady. She had reached out. And so a group of us, we tore down an old pool and cut the grass and trimmed all the bushes and got to meet her and her granddaughter, and it was a great day. So I would love to help get more of our families, because we have a lot of great families, and some people just don't know how to get involved or where to start.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to get that.
That's
those things going.
interesting, because there's a lot to be said, and I think it speaks tremendously to your character of fundamentally who you are, because I think involvement is key, and to make that kind of the front line of the thought process is just get people more involved in the community. I think people develop a relationship with the community, a relationship with the community, and pride in community, and when those are firing on all cylinders, it 100% inevitably makes a school district better.
Yep.
So that's neat.
Well, and
Thanks.
on top of that, your background is in technology, right? And a lot of times, and we've seen it at home, and I'm sure you have as well where you live, that when you have the ability to kind of do online school, and let's face it, it's not necessarily going away, right? And it's not going away at the higher education levels either. You're probably going to see more, if not anything, of online learning and things that are going to be able to be done from home. With your background in technology, and obviously I've heard you speak on it, but parents nowadays at home, it's difficult. You're not in the class with the student, your kids learning how to use the different programs that they have, so on and so forth. And now that they're back in school, it's almost been a hybrid, right, of both. So talk a little bit kind of what you kind of foresee in the future, kind of things that you can help with that, and just your experience.
Yep. So yeah, a few things that I've spoken to many parents about is with my background in technology and what I currently do, I would love to see us work to create maybe a parent university. We do have
neat.
some of that right now in the district, but focusing around technology. The kids starting out in first grade are using Google Classroom, Progress Book. There's a lot of technology that goes on at school that the parents, whether they used it some maybe now, or maybe they've never seen it. Our kids are so technologically advanced more than ever before.
That's interesting.
And I would love to see us educate the parents on what the kids are doing so they can support them at home, and be able to check grades. I mean, some parents may think it's very simple, but there's a lot who have not ever looked at it before.
Yeah.
And their kids are starting school, and they need help.
I'm that parent. I've got kids in West Claremont School District, and they're older now, so I don't know how much it relates, but they can figure things out on their own. And it's, hey, I need help with this. I'm like, I don't know what you're figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any advice to how your system is set up. What did your teacher say? What did this student say? Have you texted a friend? Have you called a friend?
Yep.
But me as a parent, I think that's tremendously beneficial, because part of the parents' participation is their confidence in participating. And when they don't know, they don't want to look bad.
Right.
So it's like, you just figure it out on your own. I'm going to stay out of the way. So
Yeah.
there's that has to be tackled and
Yeah.
addressed. And that's,
Yeah. We
that's
started
neat.
a tech bar at work. And so that was one idea that's like, maybe once a month or something, we could have just a tech bar where parents could come and, ask questions about the technologies, and have whoever at the school, whoever is that point person, could be there just to answer questions.
Yeah, what's a classic cliche line? You can, there's no such thing as a dumb question. You can be a fool for
Right.
5 minutes or the rest of your life. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So, and that gives people a chance to ask these questions that they in their mind think is dumb, but once they're in the room, it's like, glad you asked because nobody knows.
Right. And if
That's
you
awesome.
don't ask, if we don't educate the parents when their kids are younger, by the time they get to these older grades, we've lost the parents, the ability for them to help keep their kids on track.
And your confidence and competence in the technology world is a great tool to bring to the community to teach that. Yeah, I hope so. Good answer.
And especially nowadays too, right? So, and she's on a tight schedule. This morning, I wish we had more time because this is great stuff. But in our family, we always talked about stuff kind of starting at the dinner table, right? And in general, like, I'm not going, if a kid's not learning, I'm not going to necessarily blame 100% of the teacher. And maybe I'm not going to blame 100% of the kid. And maybe the parents aren't 100% to blame. If you look at it as a team environment, in her case, she is looking to bring solutions, not just ride the current wave that's there, right? And there are a lot of questions that are out there, and there's hot button questions, right? And you've been on a couple different forums. You did the Waycross thing, where people were able to email questions in. We kind of talked about that last week, and then the Green Township was probably probably a little bit more involved. But in terms of knowing that you have to go, and I won't get into those hot. We're going to keep it simple too here, right? Keep it light and fun.
That's why people watch us, right? Because we don't get the hot topics. So thank you for attacking those things. And I'm prepared. Bring it on, guys.
People call me.
Yes.
I've had a lot of community members. My phone number, everything is on my Facebook page and my website. And I've had community members call, and it's been great. Even if if somebody, we were talking about this before, I've had some call me that don't agree with my views. And that's okay.
Sure.
But I've learned something from them, and hopefully they've learned a little bit from me. And all of those conversations have been cordial and just an opportunity to speak and hear what the community members and what the parents have to say. So that part's been good too.
Well, I know I certainly appreciate you coming on, and I know where to find all the information, but let these folks know, because this will hit live, this will hit the podcast. People have the ability to go back, and on top of that, we'll push this out as well. But where can people find information about you? I know you've done some videos, you've done some surveys. Where's a good place if somebody really wants to know where you stand on these things? Give me a couple of places where people can find that information on you.
Sure. So you can certainly look on my Facebook page, Elect Nicole Talby for School Board. You can look on my website, www.electnicoletalby.com. Both of those have my email and my cell phone number on it, so if anybody wanted to call. This weekend we have a huge push of last campaign ways to get out in the community that we're doing. Friday night we are handing out candy at Taylor Elementary for their trunk or treat, so I was excited to be invited to that. All the candidates have the opportunity to do these things. So Saturday morning, we're hitting some neighborhoods, passing out flyers to some neighborhoods around the community. And then Tuesday, we'll be at polls from 6:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. I've got a lot of volunteers. We're always looking for more. So if anybody's interested in helping with those things, we're just people standing at the polls with the shirt on. So one thing I commented on one of my Facebook posts after I did a fundraiser event at Hobner was just like how touched I am by people that have said, "Oh, give me your shirt," and they wear it out, or people helped hand out my cards at the homecoming parade. Just the support that I've received from a lot of people has just been really heartwarming. So if however this works out, I feel like I've learned a huge amount of that's going to help me grow as a parent and as a community member. So thank you.
That's fantastic.
All right.
Alexa, play Don't Stop Believing.
All right, back to work.
Nicole's got a heart out. She works on top of all this. So you heard her roll off everything she does. Now she's got to go work.
Yep. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck. I'll be your number one fan
You are.
at least for the week, right?
So my counseling job is done.
It's done.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Nicole. Small town girl.
So, all right. So we have plenty of show left.
Yeah.
She had to run, and we broke the no wives streak, and we're gonna do something a little bit interesting here. Okay. So we're gonna kind of take turns. Okay. Being that it is Halloween, you've
Yeah.
seen the Today Show, right? Where they dress up
Yep.
on Halloween as celebrities and whatever. I don't think our selection is that wide, but you can give it a shot. I'm going to pan the camera over
Yeah.
as we have.
So. This is kind of used. I mean, we've already got the.
Don't touch that. That's actually my Bat Dad mask. I'm calling that one.
I don't know, man. I can be Iceman.
So
Maverick.
we're going to take turns and just kind of hold down the fort here as Quentin is going to pick one out, and he's going to go through what he's going to do and then go through our spiel. I'll come back, and then at some point both of us are going to be here celebrating Halloween. So as he's getting himself ready, I'm going to sit here and pay the bills. So special thank you again to all of our show contributors today. Nicole Talby, elect Nicole Talby for school board. We'll tag her information on top of that. White Oak Productions, huge, and I regret not getting him on. I know he was listening before. Huge event this week at the Meadows. It is a Halloween party, right, where they have a DJ, drinks, fun, and here we go.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Bacon.
Yeah. Or Baltimore Ravens just got freaking cooked, dude.
Bacon.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. So the Halloween party this Saturday, I will be there. I'm sure I'll have some shots live, if not live, some pictures of some of the great costumes. I won't give away what my costume is, but I have been working at it. Is that Roger Bacon? There we go. I like it. I like it. Roger Bacon.
Call me Roger.
Yeah. Local legends with the flag here. I checked them out yesterday looking to get a couple of things and just keeping track of the selection. Fantastic. Especially Ryan, I'm getting one of those all black hats with the white lettering.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing that order come across soon. Fretboard Brewery, we got the invite again this week. I think we're close to nailing down a date to actually be able to do our show or a podcast from Fretboard Brewery.
Right.
So when that comes,
we'll announce that, and you guys can come
we
and
want-
sit down and,
yes.
and live in person. And you know, one of our goals is on that show is just to talk commonalities and everything
Yeah.
that we really have in common. And, you know, that'll be a fun game of revealing how many people just can't stand ranch.
It's true. Ranch and craft beer, right? You kind of break the seal on some of that.
The
All
reason
right.
I say this because when we went to Fretboard and we were wrapping up the show, that conversation came up, and can't remember who it was, but he was on board with us.
Yes.
Disgusting. It's like, yes, we're not on this island of disliking ranch
more and more that we
sour cream and
Put that out there. I have found that there's more and more people like us.
I agree, man. I think we're giving people the confidence to come out and say they don't like the mainstream unpopular opinion food choices.
Speaking of confidence, I mean, you got to be uber confident wearing the bacon. Roger.
Call me Roger.
So I can't, us being partners, I can't let you sit here and do this by yourself. So
Yeah.
pardon me while I go to the costume table,
Yes.
and I'll be confident in what I am.
All right. So thanks for passing this off and leaving me with. So speaking of paying bills, I did a show last week, and we're going to air it sometime today. Corporate Shoe Boutique out in Hyde Park. Guy I used to work with, Matt Michael, owns that, and the story there is fantastic of where he first got started back in 2008 when the economy crashed. He ventured out to start his own adventure in life, to start his own business, and then he ran into the pandemic, opened new stores, and kind of his philosophies and the entrepreneurial spirit of never giving up. So look for that to come out on Corporate. Fantastic guy. He's just that guy that when you talk to him, you just feel the energy change in the room, and just one of those magnetic personalities that you just love to be around, and you want to be around. Once you find those people in life, you just keep them close to your side because you feel it affects your life as well. Then we get to dive into the podcast stats as soon as Tom gets back over here. So I snuck a peek to see what he's putting on, and I was struggling on myself putting that on, but felt more confident with the bacon suit. So something else we like to do is invite people on. So Banana Man, what is this?
I am.
You're talking in the wrong tone of voice. First off.
I was like, I didn't want you to wear this because this is one of those. So, a little lesson on this mask. So there was a guy on, you know how you fall into those Facebook holes?
Yep.
Right? And there was a guy, like, his name was Bat Dad. I haven't seen him
I saw
do
those
anything.
videos where he's like in the corner of the screen.
Yeah, he would just walk around, and everywhere he had this mask on, and he would just, Batman.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere. Like, no.
Yes. He did a great job.
So, I don't know how long this bat mask will stay on just because it's a little awkward with my bad banana, right? So we'll see how that kind of goes. So you were talking about corporate, right? And
yes.
And so we talked a little bit kind of last week after the show because I was unfamiliar with what corporate was. You know, you hear corporate, you kind of think like, hey, is it more of like a dress shoe store?
Yeah,
you
so
talk a little bit kind of what he does.
Shoes, man, that he offers, and when him and I used to work together, he's a shoe head, so he's always collected shoes on side markets and finds, you know, the rare shoes out there and swaps them and trades them and moves stuff around. It's kind of its own little niche, but it's something like anything. You know, you're collecting baseball cards, you're collecting coined, you collect shoes, right? And it's just one of those things that you becomes addictive because you realize the rarity of certain types of shoes out there, and you want them, certain color schemes on Jordan. So he when he started his that's what led it, because of his own shoe collection and the exclusive shoes, just so people can be original with their shoes. He got it going, and you know, his store is like a museum the way it's laid out. It's beautiful concept, the design, but he partners with all of his vendors, you know, Nike, Adidas, and I'm not a shoe head, so I'm not familiar with all of the brands, but he sets with these vendors and says, hey, here's what I want. So they'll create an exclusive shoe for corporate, and he's got one here in Cincinnati and one in Indianapolis. So when you're buying a lot of the shoes from him, there's just not a lot of them out there in circulation. So you are exclusive to that. And one of the conversations that he shared was how he came up with the name, because it's Corporate Got 'em. When he started his store and he had it up and running, he stopped in the mall, and there was a customer talking to someone at a shoe store there asking for a specific shoe. And the employees of this shoe store responded and said, oh, Corporate's got 'em. And Matt fell in love with just that line. And it's almost like Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
Or everybody knows as Devereaux, it's Corporate's got 'em.
Corporate.
He said, that's it. Corporate's got 'em. You looking for something? Corporate's got 'em.
Yeah.
So just come to us, and that's what it's built on. So he specializes in that area, and it's in Hyde Park. And you know, as the business evolved, he catered to, you know, your everyday casual shoe guy, to your runner, fashion. He's dove heavily into apparel. It's just very unique and very exclusive look and concept. So.
That's awesome. I have not seen the video.
Okay.
I know you sent it to me last night, and so I've got the permission that I need to actually go look at it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll check that out. That'll be hitting our probably both our Talby Suggs page and our Tom and Q page.
Yeah.
Did I say our Talby Suggs page? Their page. Right?
The alter egos.
Yes, right?
See, it was a little different. So when we had it scheduled to do the day before you had a procedure, because you lost one of your phalanges there.
Yes.
And so it was different being without you, man. It was a unique conversation, and I was asking Elena, the girl that does our film work, how'd I do? Did I stumble here? And I think it was a positive response of handling it. But when you're so used to somebody's energy, you start to feed off that energy, and
well, it's just easy back and forth like today.
Yeah.
Right. Or any time that we're sitting here talking about whatever jargon it is, that we're talking about. So again, I am Bat Banana.
And I'm Roger Bacon.
Roger Bacon, right? So we're live here for our Halloween show, and the only thing that would make our Halloween show better at this point is some Halloween music.
Yeah, this is Halloween.
Let's just, Alexa, play me some Halloween music.
Here's a playlist you might like. Campy Halloween Faves on Amazon Music.
I got one.
There we go.
Is this a Halloween song?
Apparently. Thunder? Play it. You got it. Take over.
What is it? Alexa, play Froggy Fresh Halloween song.
Here's Halloween by Froggy Fresh on Amazon.
There you go.
Yep. It originally was Krispy Kreme, but I think he got in a little trouble. Krispy Kreme and Moneymaker Mike. Now it's Froggy Fresh and Moneymaker Mike. You ever watched him on?
No.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. So I'll post videos on our page. He's fantastic. I'm disappointed you haven't heard of he was on Tosh.0.
Okay.
Yeah, he's beautiful.
So speaking of kind of music coming out of nowhere, did you see the song that is Thank You, or was it Thank You? Let's Go Brandon. I just wanted to say thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Let's Go Brandon. There's now a rap song to it.
Really?
That is higher than Adele's new song that's come out.
Really?
It's amazing. It's amazing what pop culture and things, how they just basically take a stronghold and start a life of their own. Right? In that case, you have a NASCAR race. The announcer tried to kind of cover up what some of the crowd was saying.
Yeah.
And then eventually that led to Thank You, Brandon. People started making fun of that.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, people were saying Thank You, Brandon everywhere. T-shirts are being made.
Let's go, Brandon.
Why do I keep saying thank you? Well, thank you, Brandon. Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine, Brandon, had his birthday, and I text him. Let's go, Brandon.
It's this banana. It's this banana costume that's sucking the life right out of me. Right?
Well said.
So check that out too. Apparently that hit #1 on the charts. Now's the time. Now is the time to check the podcast stats.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go.
This is becoming my favorite part of the show.
I'm gonna waddle over to the computer.
I almost want that Bat Bacon, because it's like this keeps falling in my face.
It's pulling this too tight.
Okay.
This might have been made for a teenager, which makes it all the better.
Right.
Podcast.
This is some thin cut bacon right here, right?
Is it crispy? Extra.
Yeah. I'm crispy, man. Come on. So it's my favorite part of the show. I love to see the support, the growth. It's and it's news to us when he opens them up. So
yes, brand new.
We're equally shocked and surprised.
So last week's episode was titled "My Finger is on the Pulse." We talked a lot about my procedure. I had lost, about, probably 1/4 of an inch off the top of my middle finger. As you're watching in this bandage, it's kind of gross. I can talk about that probably all day long too.
Right.
But that currently has 18 downloads.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that a record for a week?
For brand new?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. For brand new, that might be. So
Yeah,
1
I
week
think
long.
we had a 15. That's
So let's write that number down. We don't really have a chart, but we're keeping track of our podcast stats on a weekly basis, right? So, all right. So, what did we have last week on perspective?
Oh, man. Perspective, because it started slow, but it picked up 21. Yeah. So I think we've got 26 total on perspective.
Okay, so we're still at 26.
Okay. And
what
then
about
the very next week?
What about urban?
15. Is that right?
So 15
was downloaded
on urban.
Yeah.
Now we're at 16, so we've added one.
Yeah. Thanks for going back and reviewing old stuff.
Was there anything else on there? History lesson? Do we have numbers on history lesson?
8.
Ooh, we're up 90-something%.
Whoa.
We're up to 14 people.
Woo!
And I actually, and I don't know if he's listening, but I had a guy reach out to me about our
history lesson
in our podcast. So we kind of had a neat little conversation, kind of just about podcasting and things in general over that particular episode. So that was pretty awesome. Back to basics. Do we have back to basics numbers?
Man, I got 5 here. That was 9/17, I think, was the week.
Okay, so we're up to 12 on back to basics.
Ooh,
So
we're getting somebody's going back and they like what they hear and they're listening to more.
So we are picking up some steam, right? And we reached our 100th download, which is awesome.
Thank you all for the support, for the love.
We're now up to 110 downloads. We'll go through, and now we want the most important.
Alexa, play This Is Halloween.
The absolute most.
This is Halloween from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's it. Couldn't think of the name of that movie.
Halloween on Amazon Music.
Now, where do I go to find? Here. Yep, here we go. All right. So now the most important information, right?
Yes.
Is where our demographic, right? We can use that smart language. Like, what's our demographic?
Since we had Nicole down here, she educated us.
Yes.
Cultured us.
So, some Spotify, some Facebook, which has been cool. We've kind of blasted that everywhere. Some mobile devices, computers, a lot of iPhones out there. Now, holy cannoli.
Holy cannoli.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So 88% of our demographic is in the United States.
80%.
88.
88.
88.
So we got 12% somewhere else.
Now, this is all based on last week's episode, okay? We have a continued number one fan, I'm going to call him number one fan, in Frankfurt, Germany. He has listened to our show. He must like it or hates it that much. It's give me an A or give me an F. There's something about it that keeps bringing that guy back.
He's coming back, man. I hope he doesn't have the Toby mindset of, I've just got to finish it.
I can't.
I just got to see where they're going with
I'm
this.
a closer. I just gotta. I gotta see this through all the way to the end. Now, in the past, we have had Frankfurt, Germany. I'm going to try to say this without reading it. Maharashtra, Mumbai, India.
Mumbai.
Okay. This week, maybe they were traveling. I don't know. But we have one in Slovakia. Now, I'm going to do my best to read this, but it is Banska Bystrica, Banska Bystrica. So maybe
I think you did well. I don't laugh at the name of it. It's just
if you were to ask me. So again, ask me.
Okay, I will ask you what you tell me to ask you.
Yes, ask me.
That goes back to a lot of people ask me.
Where's the furthest place we're being?
Oh, where's the furthest place?
Banska Bystrica. I did that in the Batman.
Yes.
The Bat Banana Blues.
Where is that?
Slovakia.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
We're alive and alert in Cincinnati, Harrison, Dayton, Amelia, Mason, Miamisburg, Ohio, a little bit more in Dayton, Milford, Ohio, but then Banska, Bystrica, Frankfurt, Germany. Those are our podcast stats. So
we're worldwide, dog.
That is fantastic. I did not look at it. I just saw that today for the first time. So thank you to all of you that have downloaded and contributed to our 110 downloads, which doesn't sound like a lot, when you're
it's
talking about
to us, though.
To us, one is a lot.
Remember that old Coleraine T-shirt, Coleraine football, 110%?
Yes, we're at 110%.
110% support, man. We're 110% in love with our fans.
So that's awesome. So thank you very much. Please continue to download. Give us feedback on any of the social media platforms that we're out there doing. Again, if you're just now tuning in, we are celebrating Halloween with Roger Bacon and Bat Banana. So there's only one way to celebrate Halloween. We need Halloween music.
Yeah.
What about Alexa? Play me the Addams Family theme.
Ooh, there you go.
Right?
And any recommendations on Halloween songs that you guys know out there, shoot them our way, because unlike Christmas,
Total Request Live.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Halloween TQRL. And so we talked, let's recap a little bit of last week, right? So obviously last week we talked about, kind of my previous week in general with the finger and the surgery. And
how's life with less of you?
Oh man, it's weird. It is so weird. It's I've been fortunate to where it hasn't been unbearable, but it's really weird. So just to kind of recap, I was helping a friend with the camper, basically sliced off about what I thought at the time about a ½ inch of my finger.
Right.
Went and had surgery last Tuesday. They were able to salvage. The guy did a great job, salvage it so where it's only probably about a quarter of an inch. Either way, it's still a quarter inch of an appendage, right?
Yeah.
And so it requires every day I have to pull this bandage off. I'm sure you saw it when Nicole was on here. It's ugly. Pull this bandage off, wash it with warm water and just regular hand soap, right?
Right.
And so if you can picture the end of it is, fully exposed. There's about, like I said, about a quarter of an inch of it that is fully exposed. Like there's no skin, no nail, no nothing, right? It's gross. And it's anytime you deal with fingertips and appendages like that, like it's cringeworthy. It's not. I say this when people have asked, like, "Hey, what's happened to your finger?" And I go into the story or whatever. Like it's cringeworthy, I think, because there's so many nerves at the end of your fingertips, right? And everybody has smashed their finger.
Yes.
Somehow, some way, whether it's in a car door, whether it's with a hammer, whether it's been stepped on, whatever. It doesn't feel good, right?
Right.
And so there's so many nerve endings there. And to have, like, remember as a kid when you would wash, like, a cut or something and be like, it stings, right? Yeah. and so you'd cringe and be like,
Yeah, a little alcohol on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so every day, that's like the hardest part for me. Every single day, even though it doesn't hurt, that pit of, see how you're doing it right now? That pit of your stomach of like when I remove the bandage, and it's a process. We've gotten a little bit better on it, and I need help doing it. So, Nicole's been there helping me wrap it and whatever every day.
You got like a rubber bar, strapping,
I thought about that walking into the emergency room, like the old westerns, like just
take a shot of
give me some whiskey and just cut it off, And so
this huge dramatic scene to like take off a Band-Aid.
Well, the biggest fear too in that at the beginning was like it's an open wound, like you don't want to rip the scab off, So like the pit of my stomach, I'm like I'm taking this off and I'm being really really careful, and then so the process is, and this is. It's not really gross. It's just kind of, like I said, kind of...
Depends on who it is, right? So Jessica, obviously, in her world, she's like, oh, watch this video. And I'm like, oh, that's why God gave us skin to cover all that stuff up so nobody sees it.
And I'm
not curious about what's under the skin.
We've become kind of numb to it, right? So, like, I take this off, and like my hope is when I pull the bandage off, that when I get off of this stretchy brown, like athletic type tape, that it literally just pulls off. Like
Right.
the Band-Aid does, right?
Yeah.
And that's been the way the last few days. And one of the reasons that is because whether it was antibiotic ointment, Neosporin, or like now what I'm using is just like straight Vaseline, right? And so like when I put the Vaseline on there, like I load it on the top because my biggest fear is tomorrow ripping that off and having a sticky part.
You know
on
what's
there.
going to happen? Somebody that's watching this show, and I don't want it to happen to anybody. Well, they're going to know someone or something, where they're going to get a fingertip chopped off,
Yeah.
and they're going to say, hey, I watched the Tom and Q show, and here's how you need to treat that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the advice that Tom gave on his show, just in case. You know, they have those shows like how to fight a bear, or how to attack a shark, or how to escape a shark
So
attack.
if you were watching this on YouTube
Yeah.
right now, this is not medical advice.
this
put
is
that
our
out there.
YouTube instructional video of how to treat a...
There's a lot of things you can find on YouTube. Well, I don't know, maybe how to address a missing digit, right?
Yes.
I'm sure it might already be out there already.
How I'm coping with less
So-
of me.
I load up the Vaseline on the top,
Mm-hmm.
and we lightly bandage over the top. So like right here, I'm tapping it. Like that's not my finger. So
So there's tapping it, and I'm like, does it hurt?
there's probably, I don't know, probably another quarter of an inch worth of, it's just basically covering it, right?
Yeah.
And that's on purpose. And then as we tighten, as we put the gauze on and then wrap this nice brown tape around there, this is the first time it's happened this bad. But that Vaseline has, it's like squeezing a toothpaste out of the tube.
Yeah.
And it's really been annoying because you can kind of look at like this bandage is like it's greasy, and so I don't have the ability to wash this hand because I'm not supposed to be getting it wet.
We got a new show, medical advice from Banana Batman and
His bacon
Sidekick.
Yeah, I like it.
Bacon side strip.
Rob, instead of Roger Bacon, you can be Robin Bacon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Robin Bacon, and I was gonna say Adam.
Holy sizzling.
Yeah,
Banana Batman.
we'll call this one Straight from the Vine, or out of the pan, right? And so we wrap it up, and so like this one is really bothering me today, and this was actually the first time last night that it's kind of like it stings. There are certain times where it just stings.
Yeah.
And like last night was the first time where it's like I took some ibuprofen because it wasn't, if it was a pain scale of like 1 to 10, it was like an annoying 4.5.
Right.
Okay, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna take this ibuprofen, and it's like, and it was fine. But like it just, and this is only 24-hour long bandage, but like the Vaseline and stuff, that's like, it's just greasy, and it's been bugging the crap out of me
Yeah.
all day long and even all night. So I've got to do better today when we change it. So anyway, that was last week. We're getting better over the last few days. You can start to see a difference in the way the wound looks. So
Yeah.
thumbs up. I won't give you the finger up, right? But thank you for those that have reached out and done things and asked if I need any help. More importantly, thanks to Nicole for basically now doing everything around
Running
the
for
house.
school board, working a job. She's up there training, taking care of
Nurse.
Nurse Nicole. Like, wow. She's got four sons.
So let's play some music, and then I've got some interesting stuff that kind of happened, some stuff that I
Interesting
did
stuff.
cool over the last weekend. So
92. So yes, Jake, Canadian bacon. That's what I am.
eh,
92 country.
1992.
Number 16, Sweet 16.
So what I'm gonna look for here is I'm gonna look for something with a theme, right? And see what we can play. I know we picked number 16. We'll give that first shot. But
So if we need a rock chalk.
yeah, we've got a theme of whether it's bacon, banana, Halloween, election, something has got to be a decent little.
92 country.
So, number 16. We're going to play it.
George Strait.
No?
No.
No.
He's always top 5.
Yeah. So, 1992, number 16 song. And the reason I'm playing this is because,
Because that's what it landed on.
well, most importantly, rules are rules,
Yeah.
right? But Robin, Canadian Bacon,
Okay.
right? Bat Banana. These only happen on
Synchronicities.
Alexa, play Straight Tequila Night by John Anderson.
All right.
Now, for the record, we have not had any tequila.
By John
No.
Anderson on Amazon
And so there you go. We went to the wheel. We played the song. I am Bat Banana. He is Roger Bacon. We're here live. If
I
you,
like Canadian bacon better.
Canadian
if it's
bacon?
okay to, yeah.
could you drop an
Because people
occasional?
outside of here, would they?
Well, definitely not in Frankfurt, Germany, or
Canadian bacon.
Man, I can't even say that other one. Like it's
I think Canada has a little special place in my heart from when I used to travel up there all
you
the
go.
time too.
Yeah,
So
I had a couple Canadian.
I thought I was Canadian for a little bit.
Did you enjoy when
They're
you?
kinder and gentler up there, and
Well-
I think I've got a kind, gentle soul.
And you know what goes good with bacon?
Everything.
Maple syrup.
Ooh, yes.
And they have a plethora of maple syrup in Canada,
a plethora.
right?
All kinds of big words today.
Mm-hmm.
Straight.
The banana phone, yeah.
No.
Like Marty and Joe used to have the banana phone on rain delays. That was outstanding.
Yeah.
So, last week, over the weekend, we'll start with you. How was your weekend?
Oh, wow. Let me think. Oh, you know what? That's so Audrey, our youngest, the synchronized swimming. She got into it when she was like 8 years old. Loved the sport, loved the families, loved the community of synchronized swimming, and then she got into speed swimming and kind of got captivated by that for a little bit, and then the travel and everything, the whole backstories. She decided to leave synchro swimming and go into lap swimming. And she started getting stronger and better. And
Now, lap swimming, that's like your Olympic style.
yes,
Okay.
speed swimming. And that took a special place in time for her. And she really loved it. She loved the camaraderie. She loved her school friends and doing those things. And, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Classic type thing.
Yeah.
So Saturday, we went to the Cincinnati Synchro Gators, who's 51-year-old organization here in town.
Yeah.
Their resume is unbelievable for the success that they've had, which we're going to try to have them on the show.
Awesome.
I decided yesterday. So anyway, long story short, we go to their fall show over on our side of town, and Audrey gets hanging out with some of her friends, and she leaves, goes to the locker room, talks to them, comes back, and I think I want to get back into synchronized swim. It's like, really? It's like, are you sure? Is it just the excitement of being around these guys? She's like, no, like, I miss it. Like,
Yeah.
something in life is incomplete. And it's like, all right, well, let's set on this for the night. And as I'm giving her advice of setting on this for the night, I turn right to another mom, like, I think we're coming back. So she's like, oh my gosh, high fives. And then I walk down, I say hi to some other parents, and because the community is just, they're just great people to be around. So I walked down, and the coach gave me a high five. She was like, I'm so excited. And I was like, whoa. So Audrey got a little carried away. And I got a little carried away because it is exciting. I love being around them. It's a great group of people. And synchronized swimming is just it's its own little animal of refining. You know me, I get kind of serious on certain topics, but it's a different animal when it comes to teamwork and the effort and work you have to put into of refining that sport. So yesterday I took her to synchronized swim practice, and she was nervous, butterflies,
Yeah.
just. I said, Aj, you're a strong, athletic kid, and I think you'll be surprised on how quick you pick it up, which was the case. She got done, and she said, I was right where I left off. Like I
Didn't miss a beat.
didn't miss a beat. It's like it was neat getting back in the pool and doing some of the skills again, and someone as sharp, and her coach was Audrey, do this, with some of the technique of shoot your hips, do this, point toes, knees, focus on whatever. She's like, I feel like we've had this conversation before. It's like, yeah, she took the year off, so there was no room to improve those things. But
it was all the same. These are the same instructions I told you last year.
Yes. So we are back, and it was almost a year. So last year she swam in their fall show, and they did a practice of like Halloween costume practice. And Saturday they're going to do practice with Halloween. So it was basically.
Do they need a costume?
Oh, it'd be tough to swim.
It would be heavy.
So her creativeness, Audrey, for Halloween, she has chose to be Audrey Hepburn.
I think, what's interesting about that is if I like when I get in the character, Bat Banana, for instance.
And you can do anything because I don't think anybody has an expectation of what to expect from Bat Banana.
Correct.
So your character can be whatever you choose it to be.
And if you were to say, hey, Bat Banana, only one of us is going to turn around, right? Whereas, like, if she's Audrey Hepburn,
yeah,
she doesn't have to worry about, like, them calling her a different name and ignoring somebody. They just say, hey, Audrey.
And yes,
she turns around.
Yes, it's still me.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So that was my weekend. We are back in the synchronized swimming world, which very excited because I love the culture, love the organization, love being around the people.
To help me understand the novice about synchronized swimming, right? You see it, it's in the Olympics. You see it, I've heard of the Gators, and there's a great program here, world renowned synchronized swimming program, right? So I'm going to give you what my take on it is, and then you tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay.
So you have a group of people in a pool.
Yes.
Synchronized dancing.
Yes.
Is there music?
Yes.
Does the music play underwater?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Can they reach the bottom?
They can. However, they are not allowed to touch the bottom.
Is that okay? So how do they score? Is it scored like a diving competition where they get 10s and
no,
1 through 10?
So you've got, and I'm not 100% familiar with the scoring system, but you've got 3 judges, and they're responsible for their respective categories. So creativity, degree of difficulty, and then like overall kind of performance, right? Yeah. So they've got their and it would be just like scoring gymnastics or a dance competition. So they've got their skill, there's toe point, straight leg, are they perfectly up and down? How high do they get out of the water? So they've got, at every meet, they do what's called figures, where they give you a specific skill you have to do, and you've got like 5 judges sitting right above you. And so if this were the pool, there would be 5 of us lined up. You go right into them, say your name, do your thing. They tell you the skill you're going to do, and you do it. And so there's a girl that's extremely talented on the team, and she swam for the U.S. national team at 12U and at 1350, and she's Pan America gold. Like she's just a freak athlete. But they'll have they take like a Sharpie, and they'll put marks on your leg. So when you come up out of the water, what mark you get to is kind of how high you get. So that's kind of how they score, and it's how. So when we watch someone dance, it's like, to us, it's like, oh, that was pretty, and then to a judge, it's like, well, she did in her knee or her toe or her ankles or her fingers, and there's certain things that they pay attention to that. Ignorance is bliss, because I'll see these girls swim, and like in Saturday, I kind of forgot how much I missed the sport. Yeah, because it is I don't know how to put it into words, man. It's beautiful to watch, and just me being me, I had to try it, and it's unbelievably difficult. Just when you're upside down in water, how lost you get, and it's like, how do I find my center? Because your instinct is just to. And Audrey's like, no, you got to find the edge of the pool. So you're upside down like this, which when you're upside down, you generally want to do that, but you can't. You have to stay.
Do they wear goggles?
Yeah, for practice. Not in competition.
But they open their eyes underwater.
Yeah. So then you have to find the walls, and that's when you know you're vertical or not. Okay. So the same way we find our balance standing upright, they have to do the same thing upside down.
Okay.
Which is very, very interesting to me.
So how many teams typically show up at a meet?
What do you got? Indianapolis has a team now. Dayton, Ohio, it's a team out of Michigan. So when we go to a meet, we normally see probably 5 to 6 other organizations. And some of them, so you have like your team, which is 8 girls doing what you would see in like in the Olympics, and what's kind of most common to the average novice fan. But you also have side routines, which is like solos and duets. So there's a couple of organizations that they just don't have enough to facilitate a team. So you'll see like a duet performance from an organization.
Gotcha.
So we'll usually see like 5 to 6 teams at any local event, like a regional event. And then you got, it's all zoned out, sectional zones, where you go to. And the culture of the sport, California is the mecca
Okay.
of synchronized swimming, and it kind of carries over into Arizona. So when you're swimming and competing against them, you're in that upper echelon. And
Right.
the Synchro Gators, man. So when we joined, they were back-to-back Junior Olympic champions, and I think they've run that off for like another 2 more years. So they've got, like you said, world renowned. I mean, locally. And Jenny Jazantek, she founded the organization 51 years ago. She is an official judge for the Olympics. So she goes to the Olympics every 4 years.
Wow.
And she's on the deck. She's one of the official scorers and judges of the routines. And her daughter actually swam in the Olympics. And it's, I mean, I could go on and on talking about it just because it is infectious. It's one of those things, and I think it's kind of me too. I get captivated by things.
Yeah.
And I can't like just watch something happen and not, ooh, that was neat. Show me how that's done. I can't not do that. So once she started taking up the sport, and I was talking to other parents and talking to coaches, and Jessica's aunt is who got us into the sport. So, I'll have kind of technical questions that just so my brain processes how they did what they just
Right.
did. So it's fascinating.
It's a sizzling point of view. So, all right. So that's an interesting turn of events as a parent.
Yeah, so we're heading in a new
as
direction.
A fan,
Yeah.
I know she's put in a ton of work, for the Olympic style swimming. We talked about
And
that.
its name is artistic swimming now. So they changed it from synchronized swimming to artistic swimming.
Really?
And I was like, are you going to change the name from Cincinnati Synchro Gators to Cincinnati Artistic Swim Gators?
Yeah, what do you
She
do
said,
there?
I don't think so. I was like, well, I mean, synchro is kind of a name of the past. So it's going to be artistic swimming now. It's not synchronized swimming anymore, which
Is that part of the?
I don't know
That's
why.
not part of the woke movement.
no,
right?
no, I don't. No. There's nothing offensive to it. I think it's just, and I'm thinking out loud. And if there's any synchro fans, and I'm going to have this conversation Saturday on why when she's at practice, because I'm kind of curious now that you bring it up. I think it's just kind of a dated name,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of rebrand the sport of, ballet and dance and jazz and tap and artistic swim. So just to kind of give it a different branding, maybe. I have no idea, but I don't think the roots are woke, offensive.
That's interesting. Kind of why? Yeah, I'd be curious to see why. People are always trying to refresh things too. Speaking of name change, did you see the Cleveland Indians are being sued? They recently went through their name change, or they will next year
What
as
are they
the
gonna-
Guardians.
Guardians, yeah.
So there is a Cleveland. I could be wrong on some of this,
The
but
Braves are taking heat right now too.
paraphrasing, roller derby team
Yeah,
that
that
is
own
suing-
the rights to that. Yes.
that is suing.
So the Braves, or not Braves, I'm sorry. Sorry to offend anyone. The baseball team in
Yeah.
Cleveland, the Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to have to pay a few bucks to get that name.
I've got my viewpoint on it. It's really difficult, like looking at the Washington football team, and
Soccer does it, right?
not saying the Redskins. You know what I mean? Like, who are they playing? Oh, they're playing the Redskins. Like the NFL, to me, which is my favorite sport to watch.
Yep.
Like, who do they have next week? The Browns. Who do they have?
The football team,
Yeah, it's
obviously.
like I don't ever.
It's like who's on first.
I know they're in this. Yeah, I know they're in the city, and I know they're representing the city. But when it comes to like the NFL, I think is like the only.
It's WFT, right? Not WTF, just WFT.
Yeah, I would say baseball is probably the same. Like I don't say they're playing the Atlanta Braves. Who are they playing? They're playing the Braves. Or
Yeah. I see where you're going. The
So, like,
Bengals.
so-
We named the mascot, not the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where college is different. Like UC's playing Notre Dame. You know, it's not like I don't get. They're playing
Correct.
the Fighting Irish. You know,
Correct.
maybe the Buckeyes. They're playing the Buckeyes. Well, no, they're playing Ohio State.
Yep.
You know, just I don't know, kind of an odd take on name changes. I'm not a huge fan. I like a lot of things staying the same.
Yeah.
You know, that's just kind of the way I peel. But you missed that pun, by the way. Peel, pun, got it.
My bad.
So my last week, it was interesting. We had a great time. Saturday, we took part in our neighborhood had a bus, and the bus was going to Keeneland Racetrack, which I had never been before. You know, obviously, I
Yeah.
like action. I like gambling. Huge fan of horse racing, but I'm terrible at it.
Right.
So there was probably 50 of us on this bus. We left Saturday morning. They had drinks. They had food. We got there, I don't know, about 11, tailgated, got to meet some new people. Everybody was awesome. You know, like people in the neighborhood that maybe we had never met before, or really maybe we just didn't know them all that well. You spend some time with them. And then going around Keeneland, which was a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's cool down there.
I had never been there. A lot of big horses, a lot of big trainers. The amount of people that are there, like, it is just insane.
Yeah, it's cool how close you can get up to the action and,
Yeah.
and see the horses when they come in, and I mean they're right there.
Yeah, and so you know we took some cash and you know it's like, hey, I'm a big card guy, right? Like I really don't carry cash all that much, so like it was kind of cool to like have cash. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm not pulling out my card. Yeah. And so like, you know, you go up to the window and you're placing your bet, and we were there for I think 9 races. I think they had 11. Could be wrong. Maybe 10. They had 12. And you know, we're there for 10 of the races, and we're kind of, I don't want to say even Steven, you know, in terms of gambling. Her and I we'd win something small, we'd win something decent, you know, never in my life have I won anything huge, right?
Right.
And so,
Well, Nicole.
correct. Right. Prize number 1, right?
Right.
And so we're going through we're getting ready to leave. So it was the last bet I was going to place. And my dad the night before, he had given me his ideas on how to read a program.
All right.
I have my own ideas on how to read a program. Plus, I have a friend of a friend that is a handicapper. So I had a lot of information, right?
Yeah.
A lot of information. I was going to go.
Did you go look at the horses when they came in?
I did not.
Oh,
I did
okay.
not.
That changes things.
I know.
That does change things.
was
'cause
so
you look at
packed.
them, and they're like people. Like, and when I say that, it's just like athleticism. Like
Yeah.
you see their muscle tone, you see like how thick they are,
Oh.
how skinny they are, and
It's just, that place is like,
yeah.
it's so crowded.
I went and there was the horse when we were talking about it, and they're like, "Nah, that horse is too skinny. It ain't gonna be fast." I'm like, "Man, I got a lot of skinny friends that are fast."
Fast.
So I'm gonna ride on this horse just out of pride, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride this horse, and it ended up winning. You know, I didn't win a lot because I didn't put a lot on
Yeah.
it, but yeah, man, skinny horses go. You fly. You're fast.
So, you know, we had done okay. By no means were we ahead. By no means were we, you know, going broke on
Right.
horse betting, right?
Yeah.
So the last one, I had this idea, and I'm going through my process, and I'm reading the program, and I'm like, in every race that I had read, I'd be like, okay, I could pick 3 or 4 horses that I feel have a good chance to win. So let's just put them all together, right? And we'll do a trifecta or superfecta or what exacta, you know, 2, 3, 4 horses at a time.
Alexa, play Ride That Pony.
So,
That's in one
and
on Amazon.
when I'd win,
This works too.
it wasn't a whole lot. You know, you might win $20. You might win $10. Might be $50, right? But it wasn't anything like crazy because
Sure.
to bet that amount of horses, you're actually paying a lot too,
Yeah.
right? So I get to the last one. I'm like, man, there was 12 or 15 horses in it, and I'm looking through the program. I'm like, man, they're all pretty good. And using my process, I couldn't narrow it down
All right.
to that 3 or 4 horses. I'm like, it's the last race. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll do a superfecta. Give me 4 horses, right? And then I'm gonna pay the money to add horses to that, right?
Right.
And you box it up so they can come in any order you want. You just need to have 4 of them. So I'm like, okay, we'll do that. It's probably going to be an expensive bet. I'm like, okay, we'll do the minimum. I was like, and then on the side, I'm going to pick the other horse or another horse that's in that group, and I'm going to put $50 on them to win. Because I'm going to, we had brought cash. I'm
Big spending.
We had planned to lose it, right? So at this point,
It's the cost of entertainment, right?
I'm reserved to the fact that, okay, it's here. Screw it, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I get up to the window, and like I'm talking to the lady at the window, and she's like, I'm trying to explain to her what I want, because I'm not, I maybe go once every couple of years to a horse track. So like, I'm trying to explain to her, like, hey, I want this, I want these. At that point, I think it turned out to be like 7 or 8 horses, and I want them in this superfecta, and I want the minimum, blah blah. And she goes, she's looking through it, and it's like 2 minutes of talking to her, right? And usually you can go up to the window like the soup Nazi, like $5 on one, and you walk away.
Yeah.
So that leads her to put in this ticket, and I'm watching as she puts it in, and it says $168 to put on this superfecta.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had thrown out the idea of putting $50 on any of these horses to win. I wasn't doing that, but I was like, you know what?
Screw it.
Screw it. We're just gonna
Let it ride.
let it ride.
It's a sign. It's meant to be.
Yeah, right. So then we get up there. We're watching the horses race, and they're going all the way around, and they get to the end, and I'm like, I want to say I could be wrong on the numbers, but I had 5, 7, 8. Okay, and I didn't have 2. And I swore as I'm watching them run, 5, 7, 2, 8. And I'm like, I'm mad at this point. I'm like, freaking 2. God dang it. I'm like walked off. But I'm like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to lose. And I'm just like, and I'm getting ready to throw it away. And I look up at the thing, and it was like 5, 7, 8. 5, 7, 8. Huh. You know what? I don't know what this is going to bring, if anything. I had the other tickets in my hand, so I probably had like 5 tickets plus this one in my hand.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to guess. I'm just going to take it to the window. Maybe if I did win, maybe I won $100, maybe $200.
Yeah.
So I hand her the tickets, and she's like, this one's garbage. This one's garbage. This one's garbage. This one's garbage. And then she gets to the last one. She clicks on it. I'm like, she goes, this one's not garbage. She's clicking, and I see the number pop up. It's like $1,190. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, and at the time Nicole had went to the restroom. We were
Run
getting
it
ready
back,
to leave.
baby.
And I'm like,
I plan on losing this anyway.
so I walk back with it, and I've got the cash in my hand, and I'm like, she goes, well, how'd you do? Did you win? I go, yeah. She goes, how much?
We going sizzle.
Is that a pun?
Oh, yeah.
She goes, did you win? I go, yeah. She goes, what'd you win? I go, $1,200. She goes, no way. And I was like, flashed it all out. Sure enough, it was like all hundreds. I'm like, yes, sure did. So on the day, we ended up walking out of there, and that never happens to me, by the way.
Congrats, man.
Ended up walking out of there up $700. It's like, now I haven't seen that money since.
Yeah.
But the guy next to me, he was on our bus. He had something similar, and they made him sign a paper.
Whoa.
Yeah, he had won. It was
He won big then.
Yeah.
Right, Texas.
Yep. So it was really cool. And then we got back on the bus. We ate some food, had some drinks, got back on the bus. It was awesome, man. That was so much fun. And then, yeah, it was just tremendous. I had such a great time.
That's good, man.
And even if I'd have lost that, I still would have walked away feeling like,
That was neat.
yeah, it was a ton of fun. So that was kind of my weekend up until, in the meantime too, right, as we kind of segue, the Bearcats played Navy.
Yeah.
And they were 28-point favorites, 28.5-point favorites. And we're watching the game and following kind of like, what's the score? And it was so close. And it's like, no way, they're not going to blow this, And they ended up winning 27-20.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I think, put way too much into that. Man, I can't think of the last year a team ran the table and didn't have that scare game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time, and for whatever reason, just sometimes it's just matchups, and just teams just played whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
UC still undefeated. They
Well-
did what was asked for them. They had a trying time. They just played a subpar football game for them, and they figured out a way to win. And that's what you need to do along the way of staying undefeated. Is sometimes so it's
I think the
good
fear,
job, Bearcats.
I think the fear though of people was almost like an inferiority
little man
complex.
syndrome.
Like it
we're
was
going to
like,
get overlooked.
Yes.
Not a big Power 5 school.
and maybe that is the case.
And that's fair, yeah.
Kind of as the championship committee meets, maybe they take this, win, non-loss into consideration. But none of the polls did. They jumped them from what they were 3 last week.
Bama's in the top 4 again.
Yeah,
Which is expected.
and now they're number 2 across the board on both
Right.
polls, right? And
Yeah, because how do you work under pressure? All right, you can perform under pressure now. Good. We needed to know that as voters.
And Georgia's had tough games. Alabama's lost. Now granted, the strength of schedule for the Navy, the midshipmen, right? Isn't as
I don't know
strong.
that I've ever heard this song.
Play it.
Alexa, play Brian White, Love is the Right Place.
Love is the right place.
So I'm number 3, 1997 country is what I got. So country from 97, Love is the Right Place.
What number?
Number 3.
I'm sure we've heard it before. 97.
Yeah, well, let's get into the course.
Yeah. So we'll see what the committee when they come down in a couple of weeks with their order, but they won. They escaped.
Yes.
This week they've got another game against Tulane at noon. It'd be nice if they bounced back and just squashed everything and
Yeah.
took care of business
Puff their
against
chest
them.
up. Yeah.
So we'll see kind of what happens there. We've got, before they even take the field on Thursday, we have Ohio high school playoff stuff.
Yeah, season's over, and I did not know everybody's in.
That's what I was just getting ready to add.
I did not know that. I was looking at, I opened the articles and seeing the pairings, and Moeller got a number 1 seed,
Yeah.
which it was revealing to me how much I follow high school football now compared to, I would even go back to 5 years ago. It's, I was kind of confused on some of these things, and so St. X, who got the running clock against Moeller because they beat them.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Moeller with a number 1 seed. It's like, whoa, well, Moeller beat St. Ed's and St. Ignatius this year.
Right.
That's not easy to do.
No.
St. X lost to St. Ignatius, so there's some. It's like, all right, I can. It's justified now that Moeller's got a couple of big wins under
Yeah.
their belt.
It's
They're
that
playing 0-10 Oak Hills.
it's that arbitrary, or what do you want to call it? That basically it's a point scale, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
is what it is. It's black and white.
There's no eye test involved. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
you
because
get points for this and that. Yeah.
I watched X play Coleraine at Coleraine, and I left there thinking that team's not going to lose.
right.
Not only are they not going to lose, they're going to run and clock everybody.
I was thinking that. I was shocked when they lost to St. Ignatius.
They lost to Ignatius, and they lost to a team out of Louisville as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was kind of shocking to me that they did, but that's still my favorite coming out of the state is going to be the Bombers.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. I think they.
Unless
should.
they slip on a banana, that's really what's going to have to happen, I think, for them to lose.
Yeah.
So good luck to all of them. I've got a kid that used to play for me, baseball wise. He's on their offensive line, so I am rooting for them.
All right.
Second, obviously.
Sure.
Right. Which our Coleraine Cardinals
head
have to
out.
go into the pit
Yep.
to play the Elder Panthers. It'll be interesting. It's grow up time.
Yeah.
It's grow up time. I think I watched Coleraine early against X and against LaSalle, and man, I was really, I don't know. I'd been close to the program. I had some of Carson's friends have played there, and I knew they weren't going to be not a knock on these kids in general, but I knew that they weren't going to be that strong. Their freshman
Yeah,
record,
it
their
seems
JV
like they
record.
played well for a half of football. I know they were competitive with West, and then West just pulled away. So I think Corane's just missing the horses right now.
Yeah.
That can take a
They've got
football 48-minute pounding. Man, I don't think they've.
They're just not. I think up front they're not as big to withstand
Right.
some of those teams, right?
Right.
That'll come over time. We've talked about this before. I think in some circumstances, I think the pandemic hurt some of that. I think the coaching change, obviously, at one point didn't help that situation either. And then
it's a public school, so you're at the mercy of what's in the pipeline and what's not.
Right.
So I mean, sometimes you just have a very blessed athletic class and group of kids that are together at the same time, and sometimes you don't.
Right.
So it's West Claremont, they head up to Lakota West.
Okay.
They played them earlier in the year, and it wasn't very favorable for the Wolves.
Lakota West is a good football team. I watched Colerain and Lakota West play. That was a Lakota West defense is just really good.
Yes.
It's really good, and when you've got a young offense that's not very big on Colerain's part, it's difficult, right?
Yep.
And I think we'll see if they kind of run into the same situation here with Elder. I think their defense is pretty good. Colerain's defense is pretty good. They were able to kind of hold off West when they played.
Yep.
But West got a couple plays, and so hopefully all the best to Coach Ayers this week. I'm sure he'll be prepared.
Right.
If there's anything,
sometimes you're just outmanned.
Yeah.
And Lakota West has a good group of kids in the pipeline and a great. I mean, last year they were dominant. This year they're dominant. Where are they going to be in 3 to 4 years? They got great coaching, so they're always going to be relevant. But we'll see when you have that special class.
And back to your point, it is different seeing everybody get in, right? It used to be 8, right? You had to be in that top 8, and then the top 4 they got their home game, right? And then the second week it was like, okay, now you're at a neutral site, and then I remember those days.
Do you remember the days when just 2 teams made it out of a region?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
It was like Moeller and Princeton would make it. And and that was it for the 80s and 90s. And then I think it was our time in high school. So I think as freshmen, maybe 8th grade, sophomore, freshman year, it was still that way. They only took 2 teams from each region. And it was you played that game, you played your Final Four, and then a state championship.
Well, the pandemic hit, and with everybody, you had certain people that were on protocols and certain people that they were like, you know what, screw it, everybody's in.
Everybody gets a shot.
Yeah, and what that does is unfortunately, it puts together some pretty bad matchups.
Yeah,
on paper.
And for me, again, some areas I'm a traditionalist, some areas I'm open-minded to things, but what I would hate to see happen is when this Moeller runs into an Oak Hills and Moeller's starting quarterback tweaks an ankle in that game.
Right.
Or a kid from Oak Hills gets hurt in a meaningless football game.
Yeah.
The only time those conversations are relevant is for a Colerain and Elder. Because they're both mid-tier. There's a possibility for an upset of Colerain beating
We talk
Elder.
about perspective all the time, though, right?
But it's if you're in or you're not.
Sure.
You're good enough to get in or you're not. And that's let the I don't want to say elites, but let the elite teams play one another.
But in all other sports, it's like that.
I know.
Basketball, you're in.
I don't like it there either.
Baseball, you're in. All these things.
I don't like it there either.
Any given Sunday, right? Any given Friday night,
right?
Theoretically.
Sure.
So, as a kid that's on Oak Hills, I'm definitely not going into the we don't have a chance.
Right.
I'll be free on Saturday, don't worry. You don't want that mindset.
No.
So it is what it is.
One more chance for these kids to play a high school football
Correct.
game. I get it, and I would listen to. So it's not a hill that I would die on. It's just so I hate upsets.
Yeah.
I can't stand them. Watching March Madness, the first round upsets. I'm like, oh great, now we get this 15 seed beats a 2 seed. Everybody's excited, and they go on to the next round and get slaughtered,
right.
And it messes up just the tournament. So it's great for one day, but it kind of bums me out to see that team have that. And this sounds like I'm like a mean or something. I don't know, but I hate to see that upset, and then they go on to the next game and just get slaughtered. It's like, dude, if you're going to upset somebody, keep playing good. Keep winning.
This is again
unpopular opinion. Very aware of that. So I don't want to die on that hill, but it's just the kind of. So I would hate for, and Oak Hills fans, Roden, everybody over there. I would love to see you guys win. but you better win out.
Yeah, right.
Don't knock off one of the best teams in the state
Don't
on a fluke night to go out and get slaughtered the next week.
One of my favorite sayings is "Ball don't lie."
I love that.
Ball don't lie.
Ball
right?
never lies.
So I would say if those teams that get beat by those 2 seeds that get beat by the 15,
they weren't good enough to win the whole
they
thing
weren't good enough
anyway.
to win the whole thing anyway. So guess what? We just help make memories for that 15 seed.
Yeah.
That's the side of it that I sit on, is where it's like, yeah, they weren't expected to be here anyway. But you know what? That was their championship game. That was their Super Bowl. They'll remember that forever.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
And I am too.
So, on with upsets, right? Speaking of upsets, my Cincinnati Bengals destroyed the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. I say destroyed. If you watch the game, it was only destruction the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah. The first half and into the third quarter is like,
yeah,
don't be the Bengals. Don't be the Bengals.
And I was saying that. I'm sitting down here, I'm watching, and Carson and I are watching. I'm like, how is this going to go wrong? And it was even up until the end.
Yeah. We were saying it too. A couple of friends over watching the game, and here they go. They're going to get conservative. They're going to do this. They're going to do that, and then wheels are going to fall off. And
well, it was one of those things that usually happens to the Bengals. They did it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay, we need, you know what, a first down here would be great. Boom, 25, 30-yard touchdown run, right?
I was hating on P. Ryan.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun. I was like, if I've ever seen a running back it's like he intentionally runs directly into the defender. There's no cutback. There's no off. He runs into tackles. It seems like you can't be that consistent on getting tackled. Like, he's purposely running into defenders to get tackled.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest guy I ever watched run, and he done something to appease the coaches because he's on the roster and he's playing and he's a tough guy. It's like, I would just love to see that dude one time cut back. And he did, and it was like a 41-yard touch. As I was talking about him and hating on him.
Well, all the film said, hey, just go straight at him. He doesn't cut back.
Right. That's what it was. It was a setup move, right?
Yeah.
I want to run into people until we get to Baltimore. I'm going to make that one step, and I'm free.
I'm gone. Nobody's going to touch me. Now, he won't be able to make that move the rest of the year.
No, it's done.
Yeah.
They've got film on it.
Now,
well, yeah, I was hating on him, and so props to P. Ryan. I think he heard me hating on him, but he did what he needed to do. So the one cut he's made in his NFL career led to a 41-yard touchdown,
which was pretty much the knockout punch.
Yes.
Right at that point, like Mixon ran it in. It's like, okay, he had that long run. Like, okay, this is great, and I'm still over there like tick, 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 tick. You know, I'm waiting for Lamar to throw another beautiful deep ball that gets caught. You know, or the Bengals to fumble something stupid away, or not get the first down and just kind of keep giving the ball back to them and they keep scoring. And it was like they didn't. It was just there was some maturity. There was some growth there. A lack of being surprised that they were there. That's
100%. I think the mental psyche.
Yeah.
Without going on a TED Talk of championships. So sometimes teams get there, and I think the Bengals feel the culture of the Bengals. And we all want to be successful, but sometimes when we get to that level of success, we don't know how to behave when we get there. We don't know how to treat the money. We don't know how to treat the environment. We don't know how to treat people that we surrounded once we're in that different bracket of professionalism and success. And I think the Bengals, where we expect to be here, we did what we needed to do to get here, and we expect to be here, so conduct business in that manner. And that once that the boat last week, the boat turning around, that's a big part of turning that boat around is like, you know what? I expect these things to go in our favor.
And we talked about that.
And turning that boat in that manner.
And now are we rowing that boat, you know?
For 15 years I've said the Bengals are the Bengals until proven otherwise. I want to say the boat's turned around.
Well, you could turn the boat around. But if you're not
fire that engine back up.
If you're not rowing together, if you're not rowing in that same direction, that boat's going to spin right back around to where it was.
Yes, great analogy.
You know, so are we? I brought this up last week. Where it's like, hey, are we now? Yes, you can turn the boat around, but now you got to move it forward, right? You got to move that boat further down the stream, further down river, and they have an opportunity to do that. They take advantage and beat Baltimore, and then this weekend, cue your Bengals trap game. They get the New York Jets without their rookie starting quarterback.
Yeah.
In a game that, all indications, the Jets should not have a chance to win.
Yeah, I'm a big kind of like post-game interview guy.
Yeah.
I love to hear things, and I love to see body language. And when the Bengals beat the Ravens, I was like, you know what? I hope they just act like business as usual. That's going to be a big indicator as far as where they mentally are with this. Like, we had to come up here and do this job. We did it, but we're not done. Like, I didn't want to see any kind of. Again, I'm not the owner, the general manager. I'm not anything affiliated with it, but it's just observing successful things throughout life. I hope they arrive to that state to where it's like, we expect to be here. Like, yeah, I mean, we came to Baltimore to beat Baltimore. I don't know why everybody's so surprised. It's like, once that mental switch is flipped, it's like, all right. And so, and if I would have saw like, we beat Baltimore, like, nobody believed it. Like, I think they subconsciously felt like they arrived.
I think
you have it.
Now on the
Go on and keep on with business.
On the flip side of that,
That doesn't mean don't have fun along the way, but
even in college, especially in those big games, but the NFL, again, any given Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So they're all the best players on all of their college teams, right? So they come from a line of being the best.
Yes.
So they're all great football players. We could go on and on about certain people if you're fans of other teams or my team, but anyway, I digress. So it's tough to win no matter which team you're playing. It is tough to win in the NFL on a week-to-week basis. And the grind, the hours that these guys put in, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in film session, whether it's in groups, whatever, on the field, whatever it is that they're doing, like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yes.
And the commitment that they have to make. So when you go in, regardless if you're playing the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Jets,
Lions,
whoever it is, like, you're just as capable of losing that game as you are winning, because that other team is doing the same thing to try to beat you.
Yes, you're world-class athletes.
So it doesn't bother me. I actually love it every week, regardless of who teams are playing, the consistency of a celebration after you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, to your point, if it's like, oh, okay, like, just the one time, like, oh yeah, we beat the Ravens, yeah.
So,
but if you hadn't done that in the previous 5 weeks, okay, now it's we didn't really expect to be here, but we kind of are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But I like the celebration every week. Like, man, we worked our asses off all week long to get to this point.
Yes.
And it pays off. And the same feeling on the opposite side when you lose.
Right.
It's total
That's what I
destruction.
love about Belichick. On to next week.
Yeah, on to Cincinnati.
On to Cincinnati, right? And that's because in reality that's what it is. And it's just, again, it's not don't have fun along the way.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of like moments to celebrate and have fun. And one of the things that sticks out of my head is when Steve Young took over the 49ers after Montana left, and he had that burden of filling Joe Montana's shoes. And it was just that season went on. And it wasn't until he won the Super Bowl that he reached out. I'm sure you remember the highlight where he's taking the monkey off of his back, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, once you achieve what you're working toward is when you can have that.
Yeah.
And I was hoping not to see that sense of relief in the Bengals. Celebrate, but don't be relieved, because you still got. Because I still struggle with the fact that, hey, I know Green Bay came to town to be Super Bowl worthy. You need to win that freaking game.
Yeah, you had a chance to win that.
Don't forget that you lost a home game that you should have won.
Right. Well, even when we were talking about, when I said, hey, I think they're going to win 10 games.
Yeah.
And they lose to Chicago. And it was like, that was kind of one of those that you had.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Like, you had that kind of planned.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the Green Bay one, right? So I didn't really expect them to win there.
Right.
And I didn't expect them to win at Baltimore. So I knew once they lost the Chicago game, there was one game that you had to pick up that maybe I didn't expect you to win.
And they did that.
Yeah. So my 10 games
did
is
that twice.
still around.
Well,
Right?
I mean, they could still split with
See, I don't think Pittsburgh is very good.
I don't think so either.
You know, so I think there's quite a few teams out there that you're kind of finding out aren't very good. I think Green Bay is excellent. I
don't know if I'm 100% believer in Green Bay.
Really?
Not yet.
I think as long as
Dallas is shocking me.
I think Dallas is really good. Injuries worry me about Dallas.
I'm still riding my Rams Super Bowl champs.
I think the Rams are an excellent team, especially with Stafford.
Cardinals are a little better than I thought.
Cardinals are really good.
Yeah.
You know, we'll find out tonight.
I knew they were going to be good.
Tonight's a huge. We'll find out on both of these teams.
Yeah.
Because they're playing Green Bay. Cardinals and Green Bay and the Packers play tonight.
Yep.
So you got a 7-0 and a 6-1 team playing each other tonight. So
right.
You'll be interesting. Now, two of Green Bay's receivers are on the COVID list. Ooh. So Rodgers without Devontae Adams, and I forget who the other guy might have been. Lazard. Fantasy alert! If you need to find out if those guys are available, but
right.
You know, I think they're good. I think Buffalo's good, and I think a lot of people are beating up on Kansas City. I think when push comes to shove, Kansas City's still going to be somewhere in that mix.
Yeah, I'm probably one of those guys that Kansas City's days are over.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think it goes back to that public school. They had a special group all at the same time. They lost some offensive linemen, and we talked about it last year a little bit about everybody pretty much put Mahomes in the Hall of Fame as like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I was like, well, wait a second. The guy's still been in the league for a very, very short time.
Right.
Like, wait a second. That's a body of work. And I'm not saying he's any less of a quarterback, but things aren't going his way as he's not as productive as he once was. And that goes to the whole system under the umbrella and having a good offensive line and having a good front, having a respectable running game. A lot goes into being a Hall of Fame quarterback, and the puzzles around him aren't. So this could be a good year for him.
Yeah.
To catapult. So Brady won the Super Bowl, came back the next year. They didn't make the playoffs, and then Brady is Brady. So it's they even having a winning record that year that they didn't make it. But I think sometimes those setback years could be good. So we'll see how Baker Mayfield, same thing. Last year, everybody's putting him in the upper echelon. Like, hold on a second, and now they're talking about running out of Cleveland.
Right, which is crazy. Which, I don't like Cleveland one bit. Right. So, like, the more quarterback problems that they have, great. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Who dat?
Yeah. Great. Draft another quarterback. Whatever you got to do.
But remember when we were young, like the Bengals-Browns rivalries, they were fun, man.
Oh, yeah.
They were.
Bernie Kosar and Boomer.
Boomer and Metcalf. I mean, they had to.
Well, then both teams just got really bad.
Ernest Biner, Kevin Mack.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some.
Both teams got really bad.
Yes.
Really
bad.
And I remember those days because you had Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Houston, the Oilers. That was the Central Division. So you had Warren Moon in Houston. You had Boomer.
Yeah, I love Warren Moon.
You had Boomer Esiason. You had Bernie Kosar. And that's when Cleveland was really good. Really good. And then they would lose to Elway. Right? And, you get lightning in the bottle and the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl. They beat the Buffalo Bills to get there, which catapults then 4 straight Super Bowls for the Buffalo Bills to lose.
Right.
Those were good football times, man. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
I don't think Sarah McLachlan, is she considered rock?
Definitely not.
Alexa, play Blur, Song 2.
Song 2 by Blur on Amazon Music.
Yeah.
Woohoo! So, now
Bengals win. Let's get back on that excitement. That
Bengals win. We've got the New York Jets this weekend. Knock on wood. They're heavily favored. And speaking of being heavily favored, or not heavily favored, last week we had UMass versus Florida State. We took under 60.5 is what I took. And I lost. So, UMass is crushing.
Well, I think today's going to be a little, or if we choose to stick and ride out our UMass.
I'm a finisher. We're going to
finish the season out. They got Liberty at Liberty. It's good football.
Yeah.
57.5 over and under. I think Liberty might get that alone. So I would if I were
57.5.
Yep. So if I were in the business of
What's the line on it?
36
And it's at Liberty?
at Liberty.
Man. I don't know much about Liberty. But I know that
So they're 6-2. They had a great year last year. They cracked into the top 25 for a little bit last year. They remind me of like Coastal Carolina.
okay.
It's an athletic team, good team. They're flirting with that top 25, 35 in the country kind of pocket.
Which of these two do you like? Do you like UMass to lose by 36 or more? Or keep it within 36 points? Or both teams somewhere on the side of 57.5?
So they played last year. I'm in my head, man. But I'm speaking out of emotion because I'm frustrated with them. I think they're going to lose by 36, and Liberty's going to cover the spread. I think it's going to be
it's going to be a double
slaughter. Yeah, which maybe they deserve for letting us down for 4 weeks in a row.
It's been awful. So, man, I kind of feel like we should
teach them a lesson.
Yeah. And bet on them to lose by 36.
Yeah.
So
let's see here.
I'm taking
Last
Liberty
year
minus 36.
So last year they played and Liberty beat them 45-0.
So that at least gives us our 36.
That's our 36.
I like that. That bet. Speaking of bets,
woo!
We did it.
A good week last week.
We did it. So, Tom's big money line parlay, or is affectionately known as the TBMLP, right? We had Houston, Georgia State, Cal, and Ole Miss. And I told people, this is not something, you're not going to catch me being the guarantor of this bet.
Yeah.
I'm a process guy. I followed the process, and this is what it said to do.
Yes.
And I'll be doggone if it didn't win.
Yeah.
All the previous 2 weeks, we had heavy favorites, much heavier. Games shouldn't even have been close, and one team each week screwed it up. In this case...
But we did learn, never bet on the MAC.
It's true, but I still followed the process.
Yep.
And was able to capitalize on those 4 teams. So if you took that bet, congratulations on doubling whatever money it was, hopefully small.
Right.
Well, hopefully big. Hopefully you had a lot of confidence in me to do that. I don't know if I really earned it, but we're going to go with this week's, and I haven't looked at this yet, this week's TBMLP segment. So let me log on and see what we can get done. And I only like Saturday games. Okay, so I don't use anything that's going on a Friday, a Thursday, Friday night. Huh, I don't know why it's not recognizing my face.
Come on, Banana Batman.
Right. Let's use... Try... No, I want to do the code. You know what? Let's just see if this works.
Tom,
There
how
we
are you,
go.
buddy? Batman, how are you?
I forgot that I hit. You know, when you're comfortable outside of your skin, it doesn't bother you that you're Bat Banana.
Right.
So we are celebrating, if you're just tuning in, we are celebrating Halloween.
Sunday.
This Sunday, that's a big day, man. You got NFL football, Bengals football. into Halloween trick-or-treating.
And I hope no one mistakes Tom as a candy corn.
I'm not a candy
with his
corn.
Orange and
No.
yellow.
I did see something online talking about candy corns, like the best way to eat a candy corn.
Oh, you taught us with peanuts.
No, well, this went the other way.
Dumped in the trash.
Trash.
Paige loves them. And I sent that video to her, and she's like, what the crap?
Yeah.
I like
Did she
'em.
try? Did she try the
I don't know.
candy corn? So candy corn, a handful of candy corns, and a handful of peanuts, put them together, tastes a lot like a payday.
Yep.
It's good, and that's really the only way
Thank you for introducing that.
that I can eat. So that is October 30th, right? So, this is Maction.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to write it down. We can always...
Maction.
So the first one, Saturday, Buffalo,
Bowling Green.
minus 525 versus Bowling Green, BG. I feel like BG's burned me before. As I scroll,
Buffalo's a
It's too-
13.5-point favor.
it's too big. Too big. Not a lot of good home. Here we go. Middle Tennessee State.
Probably get their freaking...
They are minus 550. They're versus Southern Miss.
Southern Miss should beat them.
Oh, no.
No? It's the other way?
Yeah. Keep scrolling.
What is that, the American? Which Southern Miss?
Here's another one. Florida Atlantic. You'll have to find these games probably online because I don't think any of them are going to be on TV. So, minus 420 versus UTEP, the University of Texas El Paso. Scrolling. Give me 4. That only gives me 3. I'm gonna have to find another. I have to find another team. Those are the big 3. And I'm gonna go ahead. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna break.
There it is.
We are gonna break stride, and we're gonna pick one game in the NFL on Sunday. Again, these are strictly money line picks, okay? And if I follow the same logic,
Buffalo over Dolphins.
nope, it's too big. It's too big.
Eagles over Lions.
And I don't want to wait till Monday to find out if we won or not. So we're going to go...
Buccaneers over Saints.
No, we're going to go the Bengals on the road.
Ooh. Okay.
They are minus 515
I like that.
versus the Jets. So in repeat, Buffalo, Middle Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, and the Cincinnati Bengals on the road versus the Jets. This week's TBMLP, Tom's big money line parlay. So hopefully we go through and you guys win some money. But again, I'm not going to be the guarantor. And if you have gambling problems, don't do it. Right? Or if you do it. Hopefully you win. And then you can gamble some more.
Either do it or don't.
So, recap today. If you missed the first section, we have my wife, Nicole. She's running for school board on for about the first 10, 15 minutes, kind of laying out kind of what she can kind of bring to the table.
Right.
And kind of what her beliefs and thoughts are and kind of where to go. So we'll tag those as well in terms of where you can kind of find that particular information.
Yeah, and just her work ethic alone is what we need more on school boards and leading our community. So, yeah, she's just very impressive with how much she has on her plate and still being extremely successful in all avenues of life. And that would just transfer over into what she's attempting to do for the community. And that's exciting to see. So we need more of that leading our kids.
Agreed. And I think a lot of people have felt that. You know, we even had somebody stop us in line as we were kind of talking about it at Keeneland.
Right.
They lived in Tennessee. And, that, you know, like, oh, it's awesome that you're getting involved and all that stuff. So it does take a special person to really, even win or lose, whether it's her or even any of these other candidates, a special person that's willing to put themselves out there for whatever it is that they believe in, if they believe they can help or not.
Yes.
Right. Talked about last week, we talked about kind of current situation with the digit, right? And how Audrey is now,
Back in the synchro world.
She's the artistic swimmer,
Yes.
right? Good luck to the Corrigan Cardinals, the West Claremont, what is their mascot?
Wolves.
The Wolves, that's right. The West Claremont Wolves. They both have uphill battles this week. So good luck to them. Keep that rolling to a couple of our favorite guys, Coach Ayers, and then the Corrigan Cardinals as well. Hopefully the Bearcats take advantage of Tulane Saturday at noon. Hopefully Liberty takes advantage of the Minutemen Saturday. That would be huge. You know, we have the Bengals in a big money line this week as well. So don't let us down.
No.
And everybody have a happy Halloween from Bat Banana, Roger Bacon,
Canadian bacon.
Canadian Bacon. To you, enjoy Halloween. Next week, I think we get into candy.
Ooh.
And I love talking about candy.
Yeah.
I've got a special stance on candy. So we will talk.
Interested to hear this.
We will talk about that next week. But until next week, we are out.
Peace. Love you guys.